Hello, it's Robert Schwemmer, and welcome to my channel where we explore above and below the sea and from the air. Recently, I shared some stories associated with the Southern Pacific Railroad Company's history in Southern California that actually led to one of my subscribers asking me if I knew the story of a lady named May Knight Rindge, apparently the first woman president of a railroad that built a railway through Malibu to prevent Southern Pacific from putting down tracks on her property. I had to know more, so I did some further research, located some historic photos. So here's a short video about a very short railway route. I hope you enjoy it. Millions of local and international visitors travel to the famous Malibu Pier, including being a sport fishing and surfing destination. But most don't understand its historic significance, including its role with the Hueneme, Malibu, Port Los Angeles Railway. Its original construction dates back to 1905, serving Frederick, Hastings, Rindge, Malibu Rancho. The Rindge private railroad had a terminus near the pier for freight movement within the ranch, so grains, fruit, hides, and other agricultural products were shipped from the pier either directly or transferred to large vessels, some of which that called at Port Los Angeles. And here's a link to a recent video I created on Southern Pacific Railway Company's Long Wharf or Port Los Angeles. In this photo, you can see a barge and tug offshore. They're transporting and offloading railroad ties and rails from San Pedro. Frederick was the sole heir to a Boston textile manufacturing and real estate fortune. He and his wife May had arrived in Los Angeles in 1887, and he became very successful in various ventures, including the founding of Conservative Life Insurance Company and the Los Angeles Edison Electric Company. In 1892, Frederick and May purchased the 13,316-acre Rancho Topanga Malibu Sequit from Henry Keller for $10 an acre. It included about 20 miles of oceanfront property from Las Flores Canyon to the Ventura County line. The Rindge loved their ocean view property. Frederick captured stories in his book he wrote titled Happy Days in Southern California. I'll leave you a link to the book in the description. Unfortunately, they were also plagued by trespassers for years. Even the lock gates were destroyed. Frederick spent a lot of time in court trying to stop the trespassers, with no luck. In 1903, their beautiful Victorian mansion in Malibu Canyon burned to the ground due to a brush fire believed started by trespassers. Their collection of antiques, family photos, and other valuables were lost in the fire. The Southern Pacific Railroad applied to the Interstate Commerce Commission in 1904 to build tracks linking the Port Los Angeles Long Wharf in Santa Monica with the northern tracks which ended in Santa Barbara. The connection proposed was a straight line through the Rindge's Malibu Ranch. Upon hearing of the Southern Pacific's plans, Frederick decided to build a private railroad through his ranch to keep the bigger railroad company out of his domain. A little-known law prevented duplication of an existing railroad line. Before any tracks could be laid, however, Frederick died. It was left to his widow May to carry out the plans, which she did, with 15 miles of standard gauge tracks called the Hueneme Malibu Port Los Angeles Railway. Due to unsuccessful negotiations with private landowners, the railroad basically was restricted to the Rindge's Malibu Ranch. The railroad started a short distance inside the eastern boundary of the ranch near Las Flores Canyon and ended up near Urbalinda Canyon in Ventura County. It hugged the rugged coast, going on flat, sandy land where possible, and also spanned canyons with immense trestle bridges. The most spectacular part of the railroad was a 115-foot-high wooden trestle in the area of today is Ramirez Canyon or Paradise Cove. To assist with the building of the trestle bridges, the second such bridge spanned Walnut Creek on Point Dume. In October 1905, May acquired its only rolling stock, a small 15-horsepower gasoline-powered engine built by H.P. Fellows, along with 2 flat cars. As mentioned earlier, the transportation of goods by rail proved useful for the ranch operations. One such operation, transporting 3,000 sacks of beans, 4,000 sacks of barley to the Rindge Pier, of course later Malibu Pier, then sent by barge to Port Los Angeles. By 1909, no further track was laid. May kept her options open by forming a new corporation, the Tidewater Northern Railroad, the Malibu Tidewater Railway in 1911, and then transferred the railroad's property to a new corporation in 1916. She formed the Hueneme, Malibu, and Southern Railway. N.D. Darlington, who had been May Ridge's chief engineer when constructing the railroad, returned to the ranch to work on dismantling the railroad he had built. The rails were used as reinforcing steel in the construction of the Rindge Dam in Malibu Canyon that of course May oversaw. The 100-foot tall dam on Malibu Creek was completed in 1924. The spillway was completed in 1926. Today, fish advocates are calling for its removal since it's blocking the steelhead trout. The dam's demolition may start as early as 2025. But there's still remnants of the rails as late as the 1930s and 40s. Local resident and realtor Brian Merrick stated, "If you look carefully at the bluff, this bird's eye view above Point Dume, you can see halfway down the bluff a carved out portion where tracks used to run. He could remember as a child for many years there were sections of the track that stuck out of the cliff above the access road to the parking lot. Later the rails were removed and given to his father, and he still has those set of rails on their property." The remains of the rails for the Hueneme, Malibu, and Port Los Angeles Railway still appear occasionally after winter storms remove the sand from the beach. Here's an example after the storm in 1983. Somebody may ask, are there relics of the rail that the public can visit? And the answer is yes. You can actually touch it. At the Malibu Lagoon is the Adamson home, now managed by the California State Parks. Yet another chapter in the Rindge's next generation legacy. If you're interested in going into a deeper dive, I suggest you read the book, The King and Queen of Malibu, The True Story of the Battle for Paradise by David K. Randall. I will leave a link in the description. There's a small exhibit inside the Adamson home garage, but behind the Adamson home, I discovered a section of rail and time. May Ridge was an amazing woman. Despite 22 years of expensive court battles, extending all the way to the Supreme Court, she lost to the California County and State road building efforts. In 1921, the county built a road through the ranch. In 1929, the Roosevelt State Highway was also constructed through the ranch, condemning a large portion of the railroad right-of-way in the process. There's one more link to the Rindge heritage in existence, although currently closed to the public, is the Rindge house built in 1904 in West Adams Heights. May lived there until her death in 1941. Well, I hope you enjoyed this short railroad history on the Hueneme, Malibu, and Port Los Angeles Railway. Shout out to Mike, one of my loyal subscribers, and I enjoyed doing the history, pulling what I could to tell the story. I'm not a railroad historian, but there was so much to share here, and thank you for that. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, at least like, and love the comments. It really helps the channel. We're growing. Got more stories coming. Thank you.